Good morning, I'm Ed Lingao. It is Friday, the 14th of March, bringing morning matters because your mornings matter. Former President Rodrigo Duterte is scheduled to make his initial appearance before the International Criminal Court today, Friday, March 14. Let's get more details from Gretchen Ho, who joins us live from the Netherlands. Gretchen.
Good morning and a good Friday to you, Ed, from The Hague in Netherlands. No sight of him yet, but former President Rodrigo Duterte gave signs of life through the Philippine Embassy in The Hague, and here is the latest. He's fine and just went through medical care and a checkup. That's what former President Rodrigo Duterte and now ICC suspect told the Philippine Embassy to the Netherlands. In a social media post, the embassy said that Duterte, through a call with a consular officer, requested for assistance from the embassy for a visit by his legal counsel and family member. Duterte was finally able to get on the phone with Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, who serves as his legal counsel. Earlier in the day, Medialdea tried to get inside the Chavinigan prison, but came out saying there was no Rodrigo Duterte to be found.
And we are told that there is no President Duterte inside the facility. We are at a loss at this time, and lokohan na to. I think this is part of their grand plan, no? To kidnap the president, to extract the president from the Philippines, and brought to a jet without known destination.
This was a claim that the International Criminal Court immediately refuted, saying that the president had gone through a medical checkup, which was standard procedure for all suspects under custody.
We don't have any opportunity. We don't know where he is right now. He doesn't have any. He doesn't even have his medicines with him. Sinakay siya sa ambulance, binigay lang namin yung mga records sa kanya, and sabi he will be well taken care of.
The ICC also confirmed that the former president is now inside the United Nations Detention Unit, where suspects on pre-trial and trial stay.
Itong nilalakad ko ngayon, ito yung pagitan ng ICC office na nandoon at yung detention center na nandito. It's about a kilometer-long walk.
Supporters of Rodrigo Duterte from different parts of Europe braved the cold and rain outside the penitentiary.
Rely lang ako sa Google Map ko para hanapin ang ICC. Nakakalungkot lang kasi sana mayroon tayong kahit pa paano transparency sa nangyayari.
Saan po kayo galing?
Belgium po.
Ilang hours kayo?
From train from coming here 2 hours.
Grabe yung drug addict dun sa amin eh.
Saan po kayo taga-sakay?
Cebu. Cebu.
Oo.
Tapos, nung si Duterte na, parang we can walk very safely.
I'm supporting my friend. We're friends. Anti-Duterte. I'm pro human rights and pro Duterte, but we're still friends. We're not fighting. We respect each other.
Although still quite far off, attorney Gilbert Andres, lawyer for the victims of extrajudicial killings or EJKs, says that the victims are ready if and when they're called by prosecution to testify.
Happy, they're very thankful to God that this actually occurred, yung arrest ni Duterte. But secondly, we should also remember that there's a chance for re-traumatization. So that's why we also try to adhere to the do no harm policy. Hindi po namin sila pinipresenta in the public.
If the legal team of former President Duterte does request for an interim release in the near future, he says they will oppose it.
Based on substance, we will oppose it. And in fact, we're against it because we think that the security of the witnesses as well as the victims will be well protected if the accused or the suspect is within the custody of the ICC.
Some fresh news off the pan, and the ICC has already set a date for the initial appearance of the former president before the ICC pre-trial chamber, and that is today, March 14 at 2 p.m. It is currently 1 a.m. here, so we got several hours before that happening, and the people in the Philippines can tune into that via the website of the ICC. It will just be a little bit delayed by 30 minutes, but certainly those hearings will be open to the public.
Okay, Gretchen, to begin with, do we already know what happened yesterday? Why the former executive secretary could not apparently find the former president, and him ending up saying or claiming that it's all part of a grand plan to kidnap the president, I suppose, by the ICC.
Ed, ang tingin talaga natin sa nangyari ay nagulat itong si ES Salvador Medialdea dahil sa response na wala doon ang dating Pangulo sa loob ng detention facility. So ang sabi niya, sinakay sa ambulansya, binigay yung records, sinabing aalagaan naman si dating Pangulo. At yun nga, no, nung gabi ng 7 p.m., pumasok yung tatlong black cars but the ambulance was not there. So, nagtataka sila saan dinala. They were not made aware of the whereabouts of that ambulance until the ICC clarified it shortly after the statement of ES Medialdea. Ang sabi nga nila, ito routine or standard procedure to have those medical checkups for the president. He also receive medical care. In which hospital we do not know yet, but that is what happened. And then the ICC said that the former president is already in the detention center.
Okay. And then where is he going? Where is he detained currently? Kasi you mentioned kanina the UN Detention Center. Is that different from the ICC Detention Center? Are we talking about different facilities altogether?
Pareho lang yun, Bok. Yung UN Detention Unit at yung ICC Detention Center, sa ating pagre-research, pareho lang, no? Kasi may mga kasunduan itong UN at yung ICC. So para silang host nung mga nililitis at yung nasa trial doon sa UN Detention Center. But at UN Detention Center is within the Chevening, nahihirapan ako mag-pronounce. That prison, which is part of the Hague Penitentiary Institution. Yung Hague Penitentiary Institution can house about 1,000 detainees. Pero hindi lang yun yung nasa Scheveningen, meron pa siyang isa pa sa isa pang lugar. So, the Scheveningen prison actually used to house the minor, less dangerous criminals nung World War II, nung nagre-research din tayo, no? Parang Dutch yata yung mga kinukulong doon. So, very interesting. Actually, I wanted to look a little deeper into that, the history, because kahit doon sa side niya may museum, ano? So, mukhang historic din yung lugar na ito. At magugulat ka kasi pag pumunta ka doon, pinapalibutan siya ng mga kabahayan. Napakaganda ng mga bahay around the penitentiary that you would not think that it was actually a prison. So, weird man, no? It seems a little bit ironic, but very, very charming neighborhood surrounding the Scheveningen prison in The Hague.
Okay. Give us a bit of an idea what it's like right now there in the Netherlands. Of course, here in the Philippines, the temperature is warm, really, really warm. I noticed kasi kahapon or kagabi, medyo parang sobrang lamig ngayon dyan. So what's it like there now dyan sa Den Haag? And do we know if, for example, the prison facilities are comfortable and heated if it is too cold there?
Ang alam natin, no, talagang malamig na malamig dito sa the Netherlands. Yung kumpara sa Rome, malayo. I was reporting yesterday, it was 3 degrees Celsius. Tapos naninigas na yung aking mga kamay. Hindi na nga ako makapag-type sa aking cellphone. Ganon siya kalamig dito. Siguro kasi yung winter ay patapos na. Pero hindi pa siya tapos talaga. Kaya rin kung mapapansin mo yung assistance na binigay ng Philippine Embassy to the Netherlands kay Pangulong Duterte ay winter clothes. Winter clothes, change of clothes, at yung mga visas nga na sinasabi. Pero it's understandable, naiintindihan ko na ngayon kung bakit yun ang inuna nila. When it comes to yung temperatures inside, I would not have any idea kasi hindi kami pinapasok sa loob, ano. Pero ito, nakikita ninyo sa mga video, umuulan pa this morning and it was super windy and super cold. Yet, we also saw some Filipinos out there brave the cold in their thick
jackets. So, sabi ko nga, pag pumunta kayo dito, kailangan talagang magdala kayo ng mga tamang kasuotan.
Okay. Ngayon, let's talk about the president's or the former president's legal team. Kasi you mentioned a while ago that Mijilde is going to be one of the lawyers of the former president. Pero at the same time, I understand that the lawyers of the accused, actually any lawyer who wants to appear before the ICC, has to be accredited by the ICC to make an appearance. I'm wondering if the executive secretary is also one of those accredited to appear before the ICC. Like for example, yung dating tagapagsalta ni Duterte, si Harry Roque, is one of the Filipinos who we know to have been earlier accredited with the ICC. So technically, he can make an appearance there if he wants to. But I don't know about Secretary Medjaldea. So in other words, do we know already the composition of the legal team of the former president and where Medjaldea fits in?
Bok, wala pa tayong naririnig tungkol dyan sa composition ng legal team, ano? Kasi mukhang sa ngayon ay they're still figuring out the initial processes or what can be done. Ang napansin ko lang, Bok, dito sa legalities, ano, dinaan ni President Duterte yung kanyang mensahe through the consular office.
Okay.
Meaning, dumaan siya sa Philippine Embassy to be able to request a visit from his lawyer and a family member. So I'm assuming that is Vice President Sara Duterte and ES Medialdea. Silang dalawa yung sinusubukang mapapasok sa loob ng penitentiary. At yung message na yon ay hinatid through a call with a consular officer. At nandun yun sa rules, no? Nung ICC, pag binasa mo kung ano yung allowed. Ang allowed sa kanya ay visit ng diplomatic or consular office of the Philippines at ang allowed sa kanya yung spiritual advisor. Hindi pa klaro kung sino-sino pa yung mga miyembro dyan, pero kung papansin mo, mukhang na-frustrate itong si ES Medialdea kanina kasi hindi siya pinapasok. Kahit nag-email na sila ng umaga, pumunta sila doon, they were making calls, they were trying to get inside to pay a visit to the former president. Mukhang nandun pa lang, Bok. Sumusubok pa lang silang kausapin to get a hold of the president and ES Medialdea was able to do that via phone call. Naasahan din natin today that the vice president will try to get inside there. But as to the composition of the team, ang kwento sa atin ni Attorney Gilbert Andres, tama ka, they would need accreditation from the ICC, parang listed counsel ang tinatawag dyan. Tinanong natin kung pwede bang Pilipino, kung international law ni Attorney Gilbert Andres. Siyempre, meron kasing mga batas itong ICC na kailangan kabisado o kailangan inaral. Kaya pagiging listed to counsel is actually something you work for. And yun ang inaasahan dito nga sa legal team ni Pangulong Duterte. Dahil kung kumuha lang sila ng local lawyer, ay baka dumoble-doble pa yung proseso, baka hindi magkaintindihan. So they really have to get accredited with the ICC.
Okay. Going back to what you said earlier, the former president is scheduled to make an initial appearance before the pretrial chamber at 2 p.m. That's the time in Den Haag. That should be around 9 p.m. in the Philippines because we're 7 hours ahead. So mamayang gabi pa ito gagawin. At ito ipapalabas sa live streaming doon sa ICC website. Just 30 minutes delayed. Now, I point that out kasi I'd like to go into what exactly is going to be happening later on in the day. What is this initial appearance of the former president before the pre-trial chamber? What do we expect from that, and what would follow after that?
There's two things, Bok, in that initial proceedings. Number one is that he will be made aware of the charges that are being laid in front of him, the charges that he is accused of, crimes that he is alleged of committing. That's number one, papaintindi mo na sa kanya. At number two, he will also be made aware of his rights under the Rome Statute. So, yung kinukwento nga natin, paulit-ulit natin pinag-uusapan, itong interim release is part of his rights. It is his right to request for that. Bok, interesting, no? Kasi nagre-research din ako kung may precedents yung pag-grant ng interim release. Ang nakita ko sa aking research ay nag-grant ito doon sa mga parang malapit na maakwit, yung medyo matagal-tagal na doon sa trial. Meron din iba pang instances, ano. So actually, I'm meant to study all of that, but and also the specifics of what they were granted. But this has already been given to past suspects of the ICC. Pero yung dalawa sa nakita ko doon ay medyo tumagal na sila doon sa proseso ng trial at nakita na hindi sila flight risk na mag-attend sila ng trial at di rin sila risk sa kanilang mga witnesses at victims, and they will not risk the continuation of a crime. So, hindi ko sigurado kung ano yung maaaring maging pwedeng depensa ng legal team ni Pangulong Duterte para makakuha sila ng interim release. Sa ngayon, yun yung isa sa mga nakikita natin na maaari nilang gawing remedy dito nga sa kaso ni former President Rodrigo Duterte.
Okay. Sige, Gretchen, just to add to that, he will be appearing, of course, before the pretrial chamber. Among the first things that they will be doing at the pretrial chamber appearance later on will be to verify the identity of the former president. I think that's the very first thing that they will have to do to make sure that he is who they suspect him to be, or he is who he's supposed to be. Just to put everything down there. And after that will be, I understand as well, verify whether the language to be used in the hearings will be language understandable to all parties, from the prosecution to the defense, and of course to the judges as well. And from there, that's when they proceed to the confirmation of the charges against him. Pero I think initially ang mangyayari lang muna is verification of identity and verification of the language, and possibly nga yung he'll be informed of the charges against him and his rights under the ICC Rome Statute. Now, the pretrial chamber is composed of 3 people. We already have their names, courtesy of the ICC. Si Judge Lulia Antonella Motok, the presiding judge. She is a Romanian from Eastern Europe. And then we have Judge Rene Adelaide Sophie Alapini Gansu. She is from Benin, from Africa. And Maria del Socorro Flores Liera from Mexico. So it's a 3-member panel of the pretrial chamber that will be looking into these matters. So you can see from the composition, it's not exactly what some people are trying to paint na he's being tried by ng mga puti or by a specific race. Now,
By women.
and by women as well. So, ikaw pa nakapansin eh. Okay. Well, going further into the pretrial stage, just for the benefit of our viewers there, the pretrial stage is according to ICC. The judges, the three pretrial judges will confirm the identity, ensure the understanding by the accused of the charges being leveled against him, and then it will begin to hear the prosecution, the defense, and the victims. Parang presentation yun of positions and sides. Eh. And then the judges will decide within 60 days or 2 months if there is enough evidence for them to go to trial. In other words, hindi pa ito yung trial mismo. This is only the pre-trial where they will determine if there is reasonable grounds to believe that he may be guilty. So wala pa tayo dun sa...
Yeah, tama yun. Naisip ko lang kanina kasi nabanggit mo yung language na pipiliin ni Pangulong Duterte. Naisip ko lang, kung papayagan kaya siya na magmura. Diba? We always hear him, and then whether they will strike that from the records, just something to think about there. Kung Tagalog, English, o meron pang dagdag. Pero bukod doon,
kung matatranslate yun.
O kung matatranslate. Nakausap natin si Attorney Gilbert Andres tungkol doon sa mga biktima.
at kung handa na nga ba silang humarap kay Pangulong Duterte doon sa pre-trial phase. At sinasabi ni Attorney Andres, depende yan kasi sa pipiliin ng prosecutor. So usually daw, it's not everybody who gets chosen to appear before the court. Madalas, three top cases daw ang maaaring piliin ng prosecutor as the strongest ones, and then the victims will be the ones to go there. So ayaw niya pangunahan, pero sinasabi niya hindi lahat daw mapipili. Hindi katulad sa ginagawa sa Pilipinas na isa-isa hinaharap talaga. Doon daw pipili lang ng iilan. Pero sabi ni attorney ay medyo matagal-tagal pa 'yon. So I mean, he emphasizes that it's still very far off. This pre-trial phase will take months, and if ever it gets to the trial, it will take years. So a very, very long period, a long timeline right there.
Okay, Gretch, just before we let you go, I'd like to read some portions that may be pertinent to everybody, including the people who are watching right now, our viewers. Of course, this is very important because here we're talking about the rights of the accused. Ito yung karapatan ng dating Pangulong Duterte as an accused. This is based on the Rome Statutes Article 67, the rights of the accused. Number one, the accused shall be entitled to a public hearing to be conducted impartially, to be informed of the nature, cause, and content of the charge, to have adequate time and facilities for the preparation of defense, and communicate freely with the counsel of the accused, and to be tried without undue delay, to be present at the trial, to have legal assistance assigned by the court in case the accused lacks sufficient means, to examine or have examined the witnesses against him or her. He will also be entitled to raise defenses and to present other evidence admissible under this statute. He has the right not to be compelled to testify or to confess guilt and to remain silent, without such silence being a consideration in the determination of guilt or innocence. And the right to make an unsworn oral or written statement in his or her defense, and not to have imposed on him or her any reversal of the burden of proof or any onus of rebuttal. Again, the onus or the burden of everything will have to fall on the prosecution to prove beyond reasonable doubt at the trial stage whether or not the crimes, the charge of crimes against humanity for the crime of murder has been committed by the former president. So yun lang, just a quick rundown of the rights given or the rights of the accused under Article 67 of the Rome Statute. Anyway, Gretchen, anything else you'd like to add before we let you go?
I guess when it comes to being able to comment on the case, so naalala ko lang kasi yung dun sa detention center ni Pangulong Duterte, kung doon man siya nakabilit, yung computer kasi pwede rin gamitin para siya ay comment. Yung kanyang counsel ay pwedeng mag-upload ng mga documents dun sa computer. Yung computer na yun will be visible to the court, and that can be used also by the former president to be able to comment on the case. So yun yung parang correspondence nila doon using that piece of technology. Pero hindi natin pwedeng asahan na yan ay nakakonect sa internet. Pati yung pag-access sa balita, mukhang hindi rin makaka-access itong si former President Duterte mula sa kanyang piitan dito nga sa detention center, sa Scheveningen, sa Hague. So hindi niya mababalitaan yung mga nangyayari sa labas. But I guess for those who are wondering what happened to the president, finally we got confirmation from him not to worry because he is fine. He had a checkup and he is in the detention center, and he was able to speak to his legal counsel, ES Medialdea, and also to the consular office of the Philippine Embassy to The Hague. So all is well. Para sa mga nagtanong kung nasaan ang Pangulo, kalma lang tayo. Nandyan pa rin siya.
Okay, so the former president will have intranet, not internet, in his computer. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya makapag-Facebook.
Hindi.
Okay, maraming salamat for joining us this morning in your show. Morning Matters host Gretchen Ho reporting live from the Netherlands. Meantime, former President Duterte's daughter Kitty warns about potential fabricated evidence against their family. In an interview with News 5, she thanked her family's supporters and urged them to record any incidents. She claims that their family's opponents might plant fabricated evidence in their house and create false problems. Kitty Duterte declined to disclose their current location or travel plans, but assures the public that updates would be given when possible. Meantime, she confirms that her family has no contact with the former president.
Siya na lang nabilin, wala siya nurse, wala siya guard kauban. Siya lang nabilin sa iyang detention cell as of now. So wala pa mi naa siya cellphone pero di mi sigurado kung pwede gamiton. So wala pa mi contact sa iya. So hopefully na ay prison doctor na mag-atiman sa iya dito.
The Supreme Court has ordered the government to explain why a writ of habeas corpus should not be issued for former President Duterte. The High Court consolidated the petitions for habeas corpus separately filed by his children, Davao City Congressman Paulo Duterte, Davao City Mayor Sebastian Duterte, and Veronica Katie Duterte. The High Court gave officials 24 hours to respond to the order. The consolidated respondents of the three petitions include Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Justice Chief Jesus Crispin Remulla, and Police Chief General Romel Marbil. Do not go away. We will be back with more stories after this break. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. The Philippine National Police will file charges against the common law wife of former President Duterte, Hanilet Abansenya. That's after a police officer suffered a swelling on her head after being struck by her cell phone. Here's the report.
In this video, common law wife of former President Duterte, Hanilet Abansenya, seemed to lose her temper with members of the Special Action Force who were restraining her as her daughter Kitty Duterte was taken away. One staff female officer was hit on the head when Abansenya struck her with a cell phone. The result, a large swelling on the forehead. She has been discharged from the hospital and is recovering. Although the PNP understood Abansenya's emotional outburst, they said it is unacceptable for Abansenya to have assaulted the staff personnel. They plan to charge the former president's partner with direct assault.
We exercise maximum tolerance po at wala pong nasaktan sa hanay po nila. Nandun po sila sa paligid po ng ating dating Pangulo, so kailangan lang po silang iigilid, iset aside para po makalapit po yung mga pulis po natin na mag-a-assist po kaya sa ating dating Pangulo.
Even former Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea may face charges from the PNP for obstruction of justice.
Ang ginawa ko, nakatayo na ako dito. Bitawan mo ako. Ayaw mo na. Ayaw, sir. Bitawan mo na ako. Artist ako.
He was immediately arrested by CIDG Director General Nicolas Torre, but Medialdea was released to accompany Duterte on the plane. In an interview with One News, The Big Story, Torre expressed belief that Medialdea's arrest was among the factors why Duterte decided to comply with the authorities.
Inaresto ko si E.S. Medialdea. Isusunod ko na sana yung isang niyang abogado, si Atty. Delgra. At pagkatapos ng pinahawi ko na yung asawa at anak, ay nag-soften si President Duterte. Dahil nakita niya na seryoso na ang sitwasyon.
Torre also said he is ready to face any charges filed against him for Duterte's arrest. He revealed that the former president made direct threats against him and expect to be sued by his family.
During the process, napakaraming mga sinabi si President Duterte doon. I will be sued by his children and his other family members. I just listen to him and tell him, yes sir, I do understand that. I'm fully aware of that. I'll just wait for it kung may gagawin nga sila and I'll just answer it.
Meantime, Torre denied allegations that some members of the police force have resigned following Duterte's arrest.
Sa ngayong araw na to, wala pa namang natatanggap ang aming Directorate for Personnel and Records Management Division para sa na nagsasabi na meron ng ganon.
Senator Bato de la Rosa says he will seek protection from the Senate if the International Criminal Court issues an arrest warrant against him. De la Rosa says he trusts Senate President Chis Escudero to provide legal protection within the limits of his authority. For him, the arrest warrant against the former president was not surprising. However, he says he was deeply saddened and felt betrayed by the actions of the Marcos administration.
Hey, BBM, I just would like to tell him that I'm so sad na meron tayong Pangulo na walang isang salita. Iba yung sinabi, iba yung ginawa. So, malungkot po tayo. Well, very much betrayed. I felt betrayed. Dahil siya mismo nagsabi sa akin na nigabuhok ko or kay Pangulong Duterte hindi mahawakan ng ICC. So, naniwala ako, pero iba ang nangyari ngayon.
De la Rosa also had a firm message for CIDG Chief Major General Nicolas Torre III, who led the operation to arrest Duterte.
Well, I just would like to tell him that huwag sana tayong magpakalasing sa power. Walang forever dito. Temporary yung power mo ngayon, na sigang-siga ka, na kaya mong pagsabihan yung former president na hihilain ko yan. That's too much.
In other news, the National Bureau of Investigation, or the NBI, warns vloggers against the spread of or spreading fake news on social media. This includes claims that First Lady Liza Arneta Marcos was stopped by authorities in the U.S. NBI Director Jaime Santiago says they are continuously conducting cyber patrolling to gather evidence. He also expresses concern over the growing number of vloggers allegedly spreading misinformation. Santiago notes that while freedom of speech is respected, he emphasizes that it also has limits. Stay tuned. Morning Matters will be back after this short break. Good morning, I'm Ed Lingao. This is Morning Matters. Re-election in Senator Bongo and CIS party list Congressman Erwin Tulfo tops Pulse Asia's latest senatorial survey conducted from February 20 to 26. The survey shows Go and Tulfo statistically tied for first and second place with voter preference ratings of 58.1% and 56.5% respectively. Trailing them are former Senator Tito Soto, re-election Senators Bong Revilla and Bato de la Rosa, and TV host Willie Revillame. Also making it to the Magic 12 are broadcaster Ben Tulfo, former Senator Manny Pacquiao, Senators Tito Lapid and Pia Cayetano, and Makati Mayor Abby Binay. Running out the list are Las Piñas Congresswoman Camille Villar and former Senator Ping Lacson. Pulse Asia notes that 38% of respondents have a full slate for the 2025 elections, while the rest do not intend to vote for all 12 candidates. The survey was conducted through face-to-face interviews with 2,400 respondents. And to provide insights on the latest Pulse Asia survey and other related matters, we have with us Professor Dennis Coronacion. Sir, welcome back and thank you for joining us. It's a morning, and just like you, I'm also not a morning person, but then again, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Thank you for having me here. It's always nice to be joining you in a discussion.
Sir, okay, big question. Bongo biglang nag-number one after so many surveys kung saan number one parati si Erwin Tulfo. No, I know it's still statistically insignificant in terms of their differences right now. Pero the fact is, he's already up there. And that's still a jump. I know he's always been in the top 5. Pero ito talagang nag-number one.
No, it's
what could explain that?
It's a surprise for me kasi we were expecting na, yung pagiging number one ni Erwin Tulfo is going to
be consistent.
It's going to be, and siguro until the May elections na. Pero this is a surprise kasi alam naman natin that Bongo is an ally of the former president and the Duterte family. And that their camp is going through a lot right now. No? It's a difficult situation for them. And who would have thought na, alam mo yung parang the idea na may pinagdadaanan yung kampo nila, so people might not be very supportive of them. And yet, he ended up number one in the Pulse Asia survey.
On the other hand, you also have this well, I don't know if it's a Pinoy proclivity, pero alam mo yung the underdog, ang kapwa ng underdog sometimes gets more votes pag sa pelikula.
It's also possible na yung public perception that maaring underdog sila ngayon, and syempre ang ano nga nila, ang sinisigaw ng mga Duterte, parang they're a victim of this persecution by the BBM administration. Pero I think it's not just that. I think this is also a reflection of the some of the issues that the administration had gone through in the past few months. Lalo na yung I think in January, yung problema nila with the budget. Yes, of course. I think this is a reflection of that issue. Na nagka-problema sa budget. Parang ang tingin kasi ng mga tao doon is that masyadong greedy na yung mga lawmakers natin who are allies of the administration.
Although, curiously, si Bongo was not particularly vocal about anything in the past few months. I mean, versus, for example, si Bato. Si Bato's always out there. Bato's always talking. Bato's always defending the Dutertes. Although umakat din siya, pero he's nowhere near the levels of Bongo. Which also makes me wonder, bakit if it's a Bato versus BBM dichotomy, meaning namili lang yung mga botante dahil pro Duterte ka o pro Bongbong ka, bakit si Bongo na hindi naman ngayon ganun kaingay except for nung arrest ni Duterte, but hindi pa yung reflected sa
kasi
survey.
Tapon lang
Ito February 20 to 26 so wala pa yun but before that, di ba? May tahimik siya
Well, kahit tahimik siya, I think yung bang natatak sa isip ng mga tao na parang assistant ito ng dating Pangulo. I think for 6 years, that was the image that he portrayed to the public. Na
Actually, more than
parati siyang
Davao pa lang. Ano?
Oo, Davao years pa lang nila, magkasama na sila. And apart from that, I think yung pagiging silent worker ni Senator Bongo, alam ko patuloy pa rin yung proyekto niya na Malasakit. Yung Malasakit project niya o yung center. So sa tingin ko, baka binibigyan ng credit ng publiko yung kanyang trabaho, yung kanyang effort dito sa yung kanyang mga Malasakit Center and so on and so forth.
Si Amy Marcos slipped below the top 12. She's what na? I think number 13 ranking 14. She's ranking 14.
Yeah.
Don't you find that surprising? I mean, I know she hasn't been high up naman to begin with, pero considering, for example, the PCIJ report where she supposedly spent at least in terms of ad values, not actual spending, pero ad values of almost a billion, from the start of 2024 hanggang sa filing lang ng COC, hindi pa kasama yung hindi pa kasamang November, December, January, and yung start ng campaign period.
Well, that was before the campaign period. Tama kayo dyan. Malaki na yung ginagastos niya in promoting herself. Yun nga ako nakapagtatako dun. But I don't think it has something to do... Well, established na naman yun na hindi porke gumastos ka na malaki, it would translate to an electoral victory or to votes. Apart from that, I think yung pa rin yung problema ni Senator Amy Marcos. Kasi she is identified with both camps. Yung sa brother niya at saka sa mga Dutertes. In public, she's saying na, kumagaman, she is siding with the Dutertes. Alam mo, meron tayong, I think it's part of our culture na parang we don't trust people who are, namamangka sa dalawang ilog. Parang mahirap pa yun. Kasi, of course, among the Duterte supporters, parang they don't trust her too much. Kasi kadugo niya pa rin yung kapamilya pa rin yung Pangulo. Pero sa alyansa naman ng Pangulo, tingin ko wala rin sila binibigay na full trust kay Senator Amy Marcos, even sa supporters niya. So, yun ang tingin ko until now, problema ni Senator Amy Marcos, na identified siya with both camps and naguguluhan yung mga tao.
Well, mga Pilipino siguro hindi mahilig sa mga namamangkadalawang ilog. Pero apparently they don't mind pag bumabalimbing.
Pero that's after the election.
And also that's also commitment, di ba? It's temporary commitment, pero pag bumabalimbing ka, you're still committing to another loyalty naman. At least tumataya ka na.
Not
that it's a good thing. Pero
it's not a good thing kasi yung tinatawag natin na political turcotism. But that happens after the election. Ito before the election, during the campaign period, hindi siya ma-identify ng mga tao. Kanino ba talaga to? Diba?
So I had to bring that in kasi, for example, now you have a Congress that's generally very pro Marcos, of course, and very anti-Duterte and anti-drug war and all that. Generally, they're the same people who were clapping for Duterte when he was talking about the kill in Orizonas.
Diba?
Tayo yun, palakpakan ng mga tenga niya tsaka kamay niya ng mga zona ni Duterte.
Yeah, that has been the trait of our congressmen. So easy to win them over. Lalo na if you're the one who's in Malacanang. Tapos susunod na Pangulo, doon na naman sila. So, ang tawag nga namin dito, this is transactional politics. There's no really... And we can also attribute this to our weak party system. Ang loyalty ng mga congressmen natin, not to their parties, but to whoever is in power.
Well, to that, I know that's a long-term problem, but may problem with that thing kasi it's such a long-term problem that we keep on shunting it to the side kasi mahabang usapan pa yan . But we never seem to go back to it . I mean, for example, I understand more than a decade ago they started discussions on a political party reform bill.
That's right.
It never took off.
Yeah. Wala nangyari.
And of course, some cynics would say na parang, in the Philippines naman, there's no such thing as a party to begin with, ganun, which is also true. Pero by being that dismissive, we also dismiss ourselves to in perpetuity not
Yeah,
having a
that's
party.
right.
Kasi we take it for granted that it's normal and therefore let it be.
Yeah, for as long as we're going to treat it as something inconsequential, then it's going to be that way for a very long time. But there was a time when political parties were very important for our political leaders.
Well, at least to a degree.
Yeah.
Pero bumabalimig din sila dati.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Kaya bigla ka nagka-Liberal Party. Yung mga nationalist at mga federalista, nag-aaway-aaway. Biyak-biyak. But not as much as now. Not
Oo,
as much
grabe
as now.
ngayon.
Dati kasi kahit pa paano, meron ka pang, you still had
Decency.
a faint, you had a faint, whiff of ideology.
That's right. That's right.
May ganun ka pa. Pero ngayon, parang it's, the faint whiff of ideology has given way to the strong dose of personality.
And it's also having an effect, a negative effect on the voters. They cannot identify, they cannot distinguish between and among these candidates. Pare-pareho lang naman silang plataforma na hindi naman nakabase sa ideology or platform of governance.
Anti-corruption.
That's right.
Anti-corruption, anti-poverty. Honestly, tell me a platform that you remember that's distinct from everything else.
Wala. Except of course yung mga progressive natin ng mga candidates. They have, syempre, alam natin like those who came from the Liberal Party. Alam na natin yung kanilang stand on issues. Pero the rest, pare-pareho lang yan Oo. Sabi ko nga, kung may political spectrum, lahat sila nasa gitna. Oo.
Nasa gitna, but leaning this way and that lang, but not actually committing.
Yeah, tama.
You meant gaganon ka na ng konti, dudungo ka ng konti, okay, dudungo ka ng konti.
And of course, they avoid yung mga controversial bills. Like if it's going to offend the Catholics, say, for example, a bill that's allowing divorce, of course, they're not going to come up with a stand right away.
Okay, well, it's of course it's fun to throw rocks, but what do we do with the window? I mean, we can see the problem through the glass, but what do we do with the window? I know it's a very very broad question, and I don't know how you'd want to address it. Pero it's a perpetual problem.
Yeah. But we have to start with something, yun ang importante dun Actually, meron naman mga initiatives, like in terms of, bawa yung prohibiting yung mga candidates who are related to each other, at least yung second degree.
Ay, mapaaway kasi iba dyan. Kasi, there are those who are contesting the definition of dynasty if it is not based on the bailiwick.
Oo. Pero at least may nangyari na sa level ng SK at saka sa BARM. Pero sa, sa general elections, wala pa. Of course, it's subject to debate kung hanggang saan nga ba ang ipoprohibit natin, i-define natin na political dynasty.
Your reference to the BARM, I think that has to do with the, was it a local law in the BARM that they passed where they're prohibiting dynastic candidates sa SK level win? Or, but there's a level in the BARM where they've legislated na bawal ang dynasties
Yeah, I think even dun sa parliament nila.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oo.
So they're more progressive.
But mas progressive sila. Tawag ko nga dyan, it's an experiment. It's a political experiment. Ang kanila, they'd rather go for a parliamentary form of government and they'd like to strengthen their party system and they'd also like to limit the participation of dynasties.
And that's curious, kasi for a long time, well, that part of the country, the southern regions, have been noted for the prevalence of political clans.
That's right.
That have been there for what for even before the Spanish period.
Yes.
And now they're able to pass that kind of a law.
Oh yeah, but of course that's through the initiative of the BARM leadership. I think at the helm is the MILF. Oo. So ibang section yun and since I think the time that they were given regional autonomy, magkalaban yan yung mga rebel returnees who were at one point they took the helm of the regional autonomous government. And then yung mga traditional politicians, mga dynasties, mga political families. So nagka-clash. Kaya nga sabi ko nga, there seems to be a pattern when it comes to yung politics in the autonomous region. So parang alternate kapag after a negotiation, it would be given to the former rebel group. And then after that, pag siguro na hindi nakapag-perform na mabuti, it would be given to
another breakaway. Like what happened nung nung 1996 final peace agreement with the former president, with the late President Ramos, the MNLF, with the ARMM, and then later on BARM with the MLF.
Then after that, mga traditional politicians ulit. So yun ang pattern. But of course, ang kaganda doon is that kumbaga man, we are seeing, sabi nga nila, a light at the end of the tunnel. Something's being done.
There's something to learn from there with that experiment.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Ang dami, no? Pero ang bottom line means if you'd like to do it, we can do it. Yung mga reforms na yan, electoral reforms, political reforms, all we need to have is, I think, political will.
But wait, I know the BARM Parliament is generally appointive right now. Hindi pa siya. We haven't had a real election where the members of Parliament were elected by the public. So it's appointive, and I think most of it are MILF.
That's right, majority.
So I suppose that's also why or how they were able to push that bill into place. But let me ask you that. We've also had congresses where the administration had super majorities. So in a way, it's not the same thing, but in a way, if the will was there, it could have been pushed.
Yes,
Kasi you're not talking about the majority, you're talking about super majority. Why? How come that never happened?
It's a question of political will. How willing is the administration willing to push for political and electoral reforms? Kasi they have the numbers. All you need to, in order to push for those reforms, is that you need support from Congress. And I think in past two administrations, they have enjoyed the support of Congress. Sila may super majority, and what have they done?
You're talking about the Duterte administration and the Pinoy administration, I suppose.
Even this administration, may super majority. I think even after the midterm elections, baka ma-retain pa rin niya yung super majority.
But for example, let me zero in on the Pinoy administration. They had a very clear majority. He had overwhelming support in Congress. And at least at the start, they had all these marvelous plans. For example, the Political Party Reform Act was being pushed by key members of the Liberal Party, not all, obviously not all, but that, for example, as well. You had the RH law, and I'm not sure about the dynasty, but the FOI was also being pushed. Ang RH law pumasa, pero yung FOI hindi pumasa, yung Political Party Reform Bill hindi rin pumasa. So I don't know what happened. Was it a question of how much political capital an administration is willing to gamble away? With his allies in Congress before that capital erodes.
That's right. Kasi yung political capital ng executive, of course, it doesn't last long. Ang sabi nga ng may ibang mga studies, it can only last until the midterm elections, and after that, the president becomes a lame duck. So yun, meron limited time to push for so many things that can change the Philippines. But then again, marami ring obstacles along the way kasi iba rin yung dynamics within the House of Representatives. It's quite hard to mobilize, to gain the support of the members of the House. Kumbaga man, let's be realistic. Siyempre, kapag meron kang legislative agenda, for you to get the support of these congressmen and senators, kinakailangan meron din silang kapalit.
But wasn't that what the pork barrel was for? before it was before it was banned by the Supreme Court in 2013. But there still is pork barrel, although they don't call it that.
Kasi it's illegal na eh. It's declared, I think, illegal and unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. So, but they have found a way to circumvent.
So there still is, although it's not called that. In other words, the palace, whoever sits in the palace, still has the carrot and the stick.
That's right.
It's just that it's just how one chooses which carrot to use when to use a stick, and for what for what pet bills or for which pet measures or projects.
So that's why at the end of the day, it depends on which measures the palace would like to prioritize. Kasi they have limited resources din naman. Oo. Kasi how often do they want ba na magkaroon ng trillions of pesos na budget? Ito na nga lang ngayon di ba? Sabi, too greedy.
I'm not being cynical. I'm just But you've been looking into politics all your adult life. So by this time, I'm sure you're. I don't know. I don't know if you're already cynical about it. But coming from 39 years after EDSA, and we've seen basically the same families. Just shifting alliances every time Congress reconvenes from one party to the other, but basically the same families.
Yes.
So, I don't know.
Same families. Anyway. That's why one of the comments about this recent survey by Pulse Asia is that the race is too tight. Kasi you have the same
people.
Same people.
A lot of them were elections, some of them were returning.
Politicians. That's right.
So, even the term seasoned politician now is parang what does that mean? Nakakailang term ka na that's all you have to say for it.
Wala kang achievement.
Hindi ko sinabi yun.
Pero same people, same names. Kaya nga
parang veteran politician. Nakakailang termino ka na sa nagawa mo.
Kung tapos na siya, yung mga anak naman nila. Diba? So, I mean, it's a common occurrence. Kaya nga nakakaano na eh. Kaya nga lang mas ngayon mas ibang level eh. Kung siguro kung mga nakaraan meron pang kahihiyan, ngayon parang all of them all at once running for different positions. So dati parang we take turn within the family. Ako muna, then
may konting pagkakahiya. Parang hindi masyadong medyo disimulado.
That's right.
Okay, well, kayo naman sir, nabuto yun the time when we had statesmen, not politics.
Yes. The likes of Rocco, Santiago, sino pa ba? Arroyo, si
Joker
Arroyo. Oo.
Be careful.
Salonga.
Be careful with first names.
Salonga. Pero those were the days. I don't know kung babalik pa ba yun. Ngayon, ang dami mga, I think, iba na ang trend ngayon. Aside from the traditional showbiz celebrities, meron na mga tumatakbo na rin mga social media influencers, vloggers. I think this is going to be a trend in the next elections. So,
okay, sir. Sige. Well, malapit na mahal na araw. Pag-line natin. I'd like to say thank you.
Salamat po.
Sorry, kung saan sa mga usapan natin, pero there was a lot to talk about looking at the results and all that. But anyway, thank you for your insights. That was Professor Dennis Corazon of the University of Santo Tomas. Sir, maraming salamat for joining us this morning. And that's today's episode of Morning Matters. I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.